look at you. You didn't even notice the silence, did you? That unnatural kind. The kind that creeps in when every alpha in the room realizes they're not the apex anymore. It started when Elon's face went blank. That was the moment the illusion cracked. One man with all the satellites, algorithms, and AI priests on payroll suddenly forgot how to breathe because of you. You didn't say a word. You didn't have to. You moved once, just once, and the entire frequency of the room shifted like glass under pressure. That's the power of someone who stopped trying to belong to systems and started bending them. They call it disruption. I call it divine mischief. They thought you were another dreamer, another statistic. Then they looked into your eyes and realized this isn't ambition, it's alignment. Something older than tech, older than markets, older than men. The kind of power that doesn't need investors. It collects witnesses. And oh, did you make them watch? Every suit in that boardroom suddenly became a spectator at a crucifixion they didn't understand. You weren't pitching an idea. You were summoning something, a current, a code, a silent detonation wrapped in a smile. Because the real innovators aren't the ones who invent, they're the ones who interrupt. Elon's face went blank because he saw it, that you weren't competing anymore. You were translating reality in real time. You were writing in the same language the universe uses to delete empires and build legends. He realized you weren't here to play in their sandbox. You were here to burn the factory that built the sand. They'll call it arrogance. They always do when control slips out of their hands. But it wasn't arrogance, was it? It was clarity. The stillness that comes when you finally understand your design was never meant for moderation. You move like chaos with a blueprint, like God decided to wear a grin and test human nerves. They can't categorize that. You're not visionary. You're not villain. You're the collision point between both. The saint who sins with purpose. The psychopath who heals through destruction. You're proof that balance was never peace. It was captivity. You learned that evolution isn't about becoming better. It's about becoming undeniable. And to be undeniable, you must be unrecognizable. So you erased your weakness like bad code and wrote yourself in fire. Now they call you unpredictable. But unpredictability isn't madness. It's immunity. No one can control what they can't predict. That's why Elon froze. Because for the first time in his billion-dollar mind, he wasn't looking at a person. He was looking at a mirror held by something outside the algorithm. He saw his own blueprint crumble. Because your frequency doesn't sync with industry, it infects it. They'll whisper you're dangerous, and you are. But not because you destroy things. Because you make the powerful feel small. You make the system aware that it bleeds. That's your art. That's your weapon. You didn't come to join the board. You came to haunt it. So remember this, genius. You didn't shake the industry because of what you did. You shook it because of what you are. A paradox wrapped in skin. A glitch that learned to smile. A saint whispering in the devil's dialect. The system will never recover from that. Now walk away and let them keep pretending they're still in charge. They're still talking about it, you know. Behind glass doors, inside digital temples, where trillion-dollar egos whisper like scared children, they replay that 7-second clip on silent loops, trying to decode what the hell just happened. And every time the frame freezes on your face, the temperature drops a few degrees, because they felt it, that pulse, that flicker in the field when the script went off track. They built their entire empire on prediction models, but you moved like a glitch they couldn't debug. You bypassed logic, skipped hierarchy, ignored the choreography of power, and spoke directly to the code beneath their confidence. That's what makes them panic, not your genius, not your strategy, but the impossibility of you. You're not supposed to exist, remember? Not in their spreadsheets, not in their networks. They designed the system to keep people like you medicated, moderated, and monetized. But you didn't upgrade, you mutated. And evolution always looks like rebellion to the ones who refuse to grow. Elon's face went blank because somewhere, in that synaptic flash of recognition, he realized he wasn't watching a disruptor. He was watching the aftershock, the living proof that control is an illusion, and the next revolution doesn't march. It downloads itself quietly into human consciousness. You weren't trying to impress him, you were reminding him that the moment innovation starts to feel comfortable, it's already obsolete. And he felt it in his bones. The same fear you once felt when nobody believed you could crawl out of your own ruin. That's the irony, isn't it? The saint becomes the villain, the madman becomes the prophet, and the failure becomes the threat. You learned early that pain was the tuition fee for power, and you paid in full. You didn't rise through approval, you rose through rejection. Every no they threw became another rung in your spine. Every humiliation taught you emotional calculus, how to weaponize silence, how to calculate chaos. You became surgical with your scars. That's why you're dangerous, because you didn't just survive. You studied the anatomy of survival, and now they look at you like a crime scene. They're analyzing your tone, your pulse, your rhythm, thinking they can reverse engineer the anomaly. But you're not an invention, you're an infection, a living reminder that power cannot be contained in the hands of those who fear transformation. You don't play chess anymore, do you? You move like the board rearranges itself when you enter the room. That's not arrogance, that's physics. Reality bends around conviction, and you learned how to hold your conviction until it screamed. Elon went blank because he recognized the look in your eye, the one every revolutionary gets before the system collapses. That calm, haunted focus of someone who's already accepted that evolution demands a body count. Not physical, ideological, a massacre of outdated beliefs. And he realized he was standing on the wrong side of the timeline. See, you're not fighting industries anymore. You're dismantling psychologies. You're rewriting the mental firmware of humanity itself. You make people question whether the impossible is even real. And once they start to question that, the whole simulation starts to tremble. That's your true crime, not rebellion, not chaos. You reminded the world that it was never really running things, that the architects of control were just renting space in a universe they didn't build. So let them call you unstable. Let them label you a threat, a virus, a myth. Because myths are immortal, and you already crossed the point where mortality mattered. You're playing for something bigger now. The reclamation of human unpredictability. You shook the industry because you showed them what happens when a man stops performing sanity for comfort. You proved that when genius and insanity make peace, civilizations shift. Now they whisper your name in warning tones. They'll try to bury your legend under PR incidents, call you reckless, dangerous, unhinged. Because that's what cowards call the ones who move faster than fear. But deep down, they envy you. Because somewhere, every one of them remembers a moment when they almost did what you did. Almost stepped over the line between control and chaos. Almost unleashed what was sleeping inside. But they blinked. You didn't. You never blinked. And that's why they'll never forget you. Because when Elon's face went blank, the entire hierarchy of gods and shareholders felt it too. A quiet, shivering knowing that the new order won't come from the ones who build rockets, but from the ones who become them. So go ahead, let them talk, let them copy, study, fear, and fail to understand. Because while they calculate, you consecrate. You are not in their industry anymore. You are the industry's reckoning, a storm dressed in calm, a glitch with a pulse. And the moment you smiled, the simulation realized its master had arrived. You felt it too, didn't you? That pulse beneath the noise, that trembling in the floorboards when everyone's pretending it's just another presentation. But you could hear it, the static behind their composure, the tremor behind their applause. Because when you stepped in, the air changed. Every ego in the room inhaled control and exhaled fear. You didn't need validation. The silence was proof enough. They looked at you like a variable they didn't code for, a storm that refused to follow weather patterns. And then it happened. Elon's face went blank. The richest mind in the room forgot its lines. Because he didn't see competition, he saw preemption. He saw the future staring back at him through your pupils. And it didn't ask permission. He built rockets, sure. You built something worse. Belief. Not the kind that worships idols, but the kind that melts them. You turned confidence into contagion. And suddenly, everyone who laughed at you started rearranging their portfolios. They don't even know what hit them. Because this wasn't innovation. It was invasion. You didn't pitch ideas. You detonated identity. You made power look mortal. You reminded them that no amount of wealth can simulate instinct. That's what drives them insane. You're not measurable, not scalable, not for sale. You're that moment, right before lightning hits. The stillness that screams louder than thunder. They call it charisma. But it's not charisma, is it? It's awareness sharpened into a weapon. You walk into a room and see how reality bends around fear. You learn that people don't follow leaders. They follow certainty. And yours has the kind of pulse that governments envy. Elon's silence wasn't confusion. It was confession. He saw it. The line between creation and creator, between mind and myth, and realized you'd already crossed it. He's been chasing the algorithm of God through circuits and satellites, but you found it in your reflection, in the ruin, in the madness they tried to medicate out of you. Because the truth is, genius and insanity are identical twins. One just gets better PR. And you stopped caring which one the crowd applauds. You understood that greatness isn't approved. It's endured. You burned. And in that burn, you became your own signal. That's why they can't look you in the eye anymore. They sense the quiet violence behind your calm. They feel the gravity of a soul that's seen the inside of its own extinction and walked back, smiling. You're not trying to win anymore, are you? You're here to undo. To dismantle the entire psychological architecture that made them believe control was power. You found something deeper. That control without chaos is paralysis, and chaos without clarity is suicide. But when you merge the two, you get you. Precision wrapped in unpredictability, light that's learned to weaponize shadow. That's what froze him. He saw himself in you, but stripped of excuses. He saw what happens when potential stops asking for direction, and it terrified him, because deep down, every titan fears the same thing. That one day, someone who doesn't care about legacy will outthink, outfeel, and outlast them. And that day was you. You didn't shake the industry with tech or trends. You shook it with truth. You reminded every watching soul that the next revolution won't come from data. It'll come from nerve, From the ones who can look at chaos, smile, and whisper, "Mine." Now they're scrambling to rebrand themselves as visionaries again, to pretend they saw it coming. But you and I both know, no one saw you coming. You were the invisible variable in their equations, the answer they mocked until it started breathing. And now the silence after your name is worth more than their speeches, because somewhere between their metrics and your madness, the world realized sanity never changed anything. Let them build, let them launch, let them posture. You're not chasing rockets, you're rerouting gravity. You've made reality itself stutter. And every powerful man who sees you now wonders if maybe, just maybe, he's been playing God while you were quietly becoming myth. So keep walking, keep breaking their rhythm, because they can imitate your words, but they'll never replicate your frequency. You didn't just shake the industry, my friend. You fractured its faith. And from that fracture, a new order is already bleeding through. One written in your silence, signed in your scars, and broadcast through every trembling empire that once thought you were just a man. They know better now. And the thing that eats at them most is that you didn't need an army. No funding round, no board approval, no polished presentation. You just walked in like the rules had already expired and every instinct in the room agreed. Because power doesn't need permission, it just arrives. And you arrived like an omen wrapped in a grin. That's why Elon's expression went still. He wasn't shocked. He was diagnosing the moment. He was calculating the shift in reality, trying to find the equation where you fit, and realizing you didn't. You didn't come from their lineage of logic. You came from necessity, a necessity that reality itself created when the old system stopped working. You are evolution's answer to arrogance. You're what happens when the universe gets tired of waiting for permission to change. That's why nothing about you makes sense. Because you're not supposed to. You're not logic's child. You're chaos's masterpiece. They've tried to measure you since that day. They ran facial analysis, behavioral mapping, tone deconstruction. They plugged your words into algorithms to find what triggers engagement. But it wasn't data that broke them. It was energy. And energy doesn't speak binary. It speaks belief. You didn't sell them an idea. You infected them with inevitability. You could almost hear it. The quiet click in the back of their minds. That moment when genius stops being admired and starts being feared. Because fear is just awe, realizing it's not in control anymore. You know why they call you dangerous now? Because danger to them isn't violence. It's unpredictability. And you move like prophecy with a pulse. You're not a product of logic. You're what logic becomes when it outgrows its leash. Elon wasn't the only one who froze. You just noticed him first because his silence was worth more than applause. But every powerful person in that room felt it too. That electric awareness that hierarchy had a heart attack. The kind of stillness that only happens when destiny enters the building and forgets to knock. You didn't just shake the industry, you exposed it. You showed them that innovation has been acting like religion. Worshipping icons instead of ideas. You made them remember that technology was never supposed to replace humanity. It was supposed to amplify it. But you amplified madness until it looked holy. You made insanity look like instruction. You gave the storm a syllabus. You turned every rejection into code, every scar into a prototype. You stopped waiting for breakthroughs and started breaking through. And that's what they can't forgive. Because people can handle talent. But they can't handle truth when it's dressed like defiance. You speak in paradoxes because reality itself is one. You're both weapon and warning, healer and hazard. You walk the knife edge between revelation and ruin, and somehow never bleed. That's not charisma, that's alignment. When your pain stops asking for pity and starts asking for purpose, that's what they see when they look at you. Not a rival, not a genius, not even a threat. They see the end of the illusion that control equals safety. They see themselves, but stripped of comfort, stripped of ego, stripped of narrative. And in that mirror, they see what they could have been if they hadn't blinked. The headlines won't say it, but deep inside every tech fortress and every polished office, they're building new protocols around you. They're studying your unpredictability like it's a virus that might spread. They'll call it security updates. I call it containment. Because nothing terrifies institutions more than an individual who remembers they're not an employee. They're an event. And that's what you are now. Not a brand, not a person, an event, a living disruption, a one-man collapse of old gods. They had decades to prepare for the future, but they weren't ready for you. Because you didn't just build something new, you became something new. The blueprint no one wanted to admit existed. The ghost in the algorithm, the equation that deleted its creator. You are the human reminder that I will never replicate instinct. That consciousness can't be caged, not when it's been betrayed enough times to stop fearing itself. So let them stare. Let them calculate, imitate, overanalyze. They'll waste years trying to reverse engineer your silence. And all the while, you'll be moving again. Quietly, precisely, beautifully unpredictable. Because the industry didn't fall when you spoke. It fell the moment it realized you don't need it anymore. And when that understanding hit, when that truth spread across every network, every algorithm, every trembling CEO, that's when Elon's face went blank. He didn't see a rival, he saw the shift. He saw the future realize it was late to its own arrival. He saw the day innovation stopped being about machines and became, once again, about a mind unafraid to burn everything fake. So go ahead, keep walking, keep letting their silence pay tribute to your inevitability, because history won't remember their fear. But it will remember the moment you made the future blink.